start with invocation prayers. Sahana Bhavatu.
सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः.
So last week we started the study of the second chapter of this book, Governing Business and Relationships. And the second chapter is called The Role of the Intellect. And we went through the introduction, which is like first 4 or 5 paragraphs. So I think you all had a homework, right? Just read the first chapter and the introduction of chapter 2. So any doubts from chapter 1 and introduction to second chapter? Any concept not clear? Or you want me to explain something? All right, so if no questions, we'll start with topic 2. What is intellect? So here he spells it out. So we have been using the word intellect, which is called as buddhi in Sanskrit. So what is it all about, this concept of intellect, the faculty of intellect? So Charu, can you read first 2 paragraphs?
Sure. What is intellect, right?
What is intellect? Correct.
What is intellect? The intellect is the ability to think freely, logically, the faculty to reason and judge without bias. When you develop a strong intellect, your thinking becomes clear, your reasoning precise, and judgment perfect. Among the 3 living species, plant, animal, and human, the human alone possesses an intellect. The plant has a body, no mind to feel emotion, nor intellect to think, whereas the animal has a body and a mind with feeling, emotion, but lacks an intellect. Only a human has all 3, body, mind, and intellect. A human being cannot survive without an intellect. As a human, therefore, your first obligation in life is to develop, strengthen your intellect.
Yeah, perfect. So if you read the first paragraph carefully, the intellect is the ability to think freely and logically. So there are 2 aspects to it, if you carefully follow what he's saying. So what is this ability to think freely? So most of us are conditioned. That's what it means. So you may claim you are thinking in any aspect of life, at home, at work, but actually if you analyze, there are chances, maybe 9 out of 10 cases, that your thinking is not free. You are conditioned. And when we say you are conditioned by your mind. So therefore he's saying it is an ability to think freely, meaning you are not influenced by ideas and ideologies. You're not influenced by any religious beliefs. You're not influenced by herd instinct. The most world, everybody follows the herd instinct. Why are you doing a particular thing? Because everybody is doing. So if you are free from it and then you decide on a course of action, then only you are using your intellect. So that's the faculty of using the intellect. See, for example, you're not, are you influenced by ideas and ideologies? No, you can take political ideas and ideologies just to understand the concept. Now, which party do you support? I'm not getting into the political discussion here. Don't get me wrong. But since we all live in America, right? Somebody may say, "Oh, I follow Democratic Party." Now, there is no right and wrong there. But if you were to ask that person, "Why are you following that particular party?" Because I live in a blue state. Another person may say, "No, I live in a red state, so therefore I follow the other party." So, on what basis you have leaned towards that particular party? So, 9 out of 10 cases, I don't know, perhaps 10 out of 10 cases, nobody has really thought about it. If you think about it, then you may support any party, doesn't matter. There is no right and wrong. How can all of us have same ideas and ideologies? But on what basis you support, let's say, party A, on what basis you support party B? So have you thought about it? No, I follow party A because I live in that particular state. Everybody is following, or my parents are following, or my friends are following. So you don't have that independent capacity to think. Are you getting it? It's a very simple example. Just because everybody is doing it, you are doing it. And that person may be phonetically attached to party A. Another person may be phonetically attached to party B, and they are clashing. This is what we see all the time, all over the world. But nobody has a clue of why are they supporting particular political party. Same thing applies to religious beliefs. Everybody, most people, they have religious beliefs. But on what basis you believe in a particular religious ideology, or on what basis you reject a particular religious ideology, hardly anybody thinks. And there are clashes and confrontations going on all over the world because of religion. It's not because of religion, it's due to complete misunderstanding of the concept of religion. Hardly anybody knows. Long time back, maybe 20 years back, 25 years back, some NGO or some organization, they did some survey in Mumbai. It's one of the cities in India, and it was on religion. Why you believe in a particular religion? So they asked Christian kids, age group of whatever, 10 to 10, 12, 13, 14, uh, why are you Christian? And then they asked Hindus, why do you think you are a Hindu? What makes you a Hindu? Like that. So 9 out of 10 Christian kids, they said, we are Christians because after we die, we are buried. A good many of them, they said, we go to a church. Hindu kids, they ask, why are you Hindu? After we die, we are cremated. Hindus, they burn their body, or we go to a temple. Now, is this a reason to call yourself that you belong to a particular religion? Are you getting the point? And people, they end up becoming religious fanatics without understanding, without having a clue of what religion is. This we see all the time happening in the world. So therefore, he says ability to think freely. You're not conditioned by anything, by ideas, by ideologies, by religious beliefs. Similarly, herd instinct. Why are you doing a particular thing? Any aspect of life, because everybody is doing. Swamiji often gives this example. Why did you go to a school? Everybody is going to a school. But did you think about it and take that decision? Why do you go to a college or a university? Do you really have to go to a college? Why do you get married? Do you have to get married? So we can go on multiplying examples. Or why are you doing MBA? During my time, MBA was becoming just about becoming popular. I'm talking about, I don't know, maybe 30 years back. But none of us knew. We had no clue of why we wanted to do MBA. Everybody is doing MBA. Maybe you can earn more money. So hardly anybody has that capacity to think freely. Our entire life is based on herd instinct. You understand about herd instinct? Everybody is doing, therefore you are doing it. Why are you having an expensive marriage? Somebody is getting married in the family, your children, you spend whatever, $100,000, Indians more, maybe $500,000, those who can afford. Why? Everybody is doing it. So that capacity to think freely, only if you are thinking freely, you are using your what? Intellect. And the second aspect of it is ability to think logically. Do you get the difference? First, I explained ability to think freely. Now we are discussing ability to think logically. Any aspect of life. The common example we give is you have a desire for a sweet, and you are a diabetic patient, right? So you offer a sweet to a diabetic patient. Naturally, he feels like eating it. But if intellect is strong, powerful, he will analyze with logic and reason that if I eat that particular sweet, my sugar will go up and I may get into some health issues. Now you apply this example in all aspects of life. Why do you borrow money to buy a house? Why do you borrow money for education? Why do you borrow money to go on a vacation? Why do you borrow money for ABC? You have to weigh pros and cons because mind will tempt you throughout your life. That impulse of the mind comes, and only if your intellect is powerful, you'll be able to supervise the mind. So that's the function of the intellect. It is ability to think logically. Should I drink? Should I smoke? Nobody can answer this question. But if you apply your intellect, what will be the logical conclusion? Whatever that logical conclusion is. Should I live beyond my means or within my means? So every aspect of your life, you have to think logically, use reason, weigh pros and cons, and then come to a conclusion. So that's the role intellect plays. That is intellect. That is faculty of intellect. Opposed to this is what?
Ignorance.
Mind based.
Opposed to this is ignorance, but opposed to intellect is
Mind
what?
based.
What kind of
Mind based.
life good many of us are living, if not all?
Impulsive
Herd mentality.
based.
Herd mentality.
Herd mentality. What else?
Impulsive mind.
Impulses of the mind. What else?
No
Likes
think.
and dislikes of the mind, whims and fancies of the mind, desires of the mind, which are not under control. I want to buy a big house. Simple example I am giving you. You often give this example. Now, is it wrong to buy a big house? There is no such thing. If you need a bigger house, why not? But the question is, do you afford? Do you have to take a huge mortgage from the bank? And the rest of the life, it is like a sword hanging on your head. So you need to use logic and reason. You need to analyze. Do I really need a bigger car? Do I need an expensive vehicle? Ask yourself. Do I have to go on a vacation every year? I'm not saying you should not, or sometimes 2 or 3 times in a year, expensive vacation. Do I really have to do that? What is it which I am going to get out of it? Senses will keep on tempting you throughout your life. Only if you have powerful intellect, you'll be able to supervise your senses. Otherwise, you'll be victimized by your own senses. So that's the faculty of intellect. That's the role of the intellect. That is intellect. Ability to think freely and ability to think what?
Freely.
Logically.
Freely. Ability to
Logically.
think freely.
Logically. How many times I explained? Intellect is the capacity to think freely and
Logical and reasoning.
repeat. Can somebody repeat? Intellect is the capacity to think
Freely and logically and with the reasoning.
again, you're going off. Let's start. One person makes a mistake, class suffers. Intellect is the capacity to think.
Logically.
Number one.
Free.
Number two,
Really.
capacity to think freely and logically. Say it 100 times today. Then we'll discuss about application. One day we will apply. At least we should know in theory, right? And the second, are we clear? Yeah. And then the second paragraph is see what is the difference between other creatures and us. It's quite straightforward. There are billions and billions of creatures in the world, living beings, just like you and me. This is life, that is also life. So what's the difference? So it's some
Humans have
broad
all
classifications.
three. Humans have
Sorry?
all three. Humans have all three equipments.
Humans have all three. See, plant also is a life, but it is a life in a deep sleep state. Like when we are in deep sleep, I mean, we're not dead. Everything is functioning, right? All the organs are functioning. The food we have eaten is getting circulated and digested or whatever. So it's a living being. But we are not aware of what is happening in unconscious state. So plant life is in unconscious state. There is just a body. There is no mind. There is no intellect. But animals, they do have mind. This doesn't need any explanation. If you have a dog at home, you know what I am talking about. Could be very affectionate. Could be very nasty dog also. This morning I went to withdraw money from the bank ATM, HDFC, where I have account. A nice new branch, swanky of branch they have started. And there's a gate, huge gate, which I opened. The moment I entered, one dog came charging at me. Street dog, but they are supported by the NGO, so they have their collars and all that. So I closed the gate. I thought I am okay, he will go away. Two more dogs. He started barking, and two more dogs came from, I don't know, big fat dogs. So I had to literally run for my life. So they have emotions. Or you may have a dog who goes on, everybody comes, he starts jumping on them. So you do see they have emotions. But there is no intellect. Some animals, they have rudimentary intellect. Like dog may have a rudimentary intellect, elephant may have a rudimentary intellect. I think like very, very basic function. But when it comes to human being, we have the most refined body, perhaps the most complex mechanism is our body. Best of emotions we are capable of having, human beings. And of course, we have intellect. So what differentiates us from other creature is the gift of intellect. So that makes human human. And if you don't use intellect, then what's the difference between other creatures and us? So this is what you need to understand, that to be born as a human being itself is it is an extraordinary achievement. It's a gift from God, as it were. So what is that gift which we all have, which no other creature has?
The intellect.
The intellect. So if you don't use that intellect, then on what basis we are humans? Then we're not doing justice to human birth, isn't it? So that's what he's telling us. So as a human, therefore, your first obligation in life is to develop, strengthen your intellect. He's going to explain it further. And then he explains what's the difference between other creatures and us. So all beings save humans. Charu, please continue.
All beings, save humans, have a built-in program for them to live their lives. Their living patterns are determined by nature. Each creature lives in accordance with its fixed pattern, wherein there is no choice of action. Only human beings are faced with the dilemma of choice. The intellect plays the all-important role to choose the right course of action at every moment of their lives. Hence, to play your role in the field of management, you would need a well-developed, powerful intellect.
You're perfect. Yeah, Arman, what is your question?
We wanted to know the reference of the book we are reading and discussing, because we joined recently and we have no idea which book we are following.
No, we are studying the book Governing Business and Relationships. That's the book we are studying. Makarand or Vijay, can you project the book? There's the book. Can you see? Governing Business and Relationships by Swami Parthasarathi. This is one of the introductory books
Perfect.
to
Yeah.
Vedanta.
Thank you. Thank you.
It is available on Amazon. So usually when you join the class or when you get an email, they will send you the e-link. Yeah, there you go. That what do you call that, scan, right, Makran?
QR code.
You can take a screenshot of that and it will take you to the link, because you will need a book, otherwise you will not understand what's happening. All right, let's come back. Only a human being has a choice of action. That's what we are discussing in this paragraph. Only a human being has a choice of action because of what? Why are we saying that only a human being has a choice of action? Why are we saying it?
Because of our intellect.
Because only we have intellect. So what is this choice of action we have, you and I have, which other creatures do not have? See, I repeat, only a human being has a choice of action, capacity to steer your life in any direction, capacity to decide what to do, what not to do throughout your life. Whatever you do, you have that capacity to decide. You have that capacity to take that decision. Before you take decision, you can decide, should I do this, should I do that? Because of intellect. That's what it means. Only a human being has a choice of action. So how do you apply this in your day-to-day life? It's very easy to make a statement and get away. Only a human being has a choice of action. What is understood is other creatures, they don't have choice of action. A deer will be deer. It cannot change its nature. It cannot change its lifestyle. Geese will be geese. It cannot change its lifestyle. When I go for a walk near my house, I think 4 or 5 weeks back, I saw I think that's the season where they give birth to, what do you call that, goslings, baby geese, what do you call them? What's the correct word?
Doe.
No, the baby, the geese bird I'm talking about, not chickens, goslings, what is the correct word?
I think it's still geese. I think it's the same word, but I'm not sure.
Goslings?
Hmm?
Are they goslings?
Yeah, the small baby geese, geeslings or whatever. I don't know. I must check the dictionary. So like this, like like cotton puffs, and there is a walking path. So the mother and father geese, they are sitting right next to that path. They're so close. Why can't they go 5 feet inside and take care of their offsprings? Do you get the point? Which human mother will do that? Which human parent will do that? They're feeding their kids right next to the traffic. You can ask why. They don't have that choice of action. The life is pre-programmed. But when it comes to us, you and me, what is that choice of action? Listen to the question carefully. What is that choice of action? And how can you transform your life using this choice of action? Think carefully before you answer. Let me repeat the question. What is this choice of action you and I have? And how can you steer your life in any direction you want to? How can you literally transform your life using this choice of action, using this faculty of intellect which we have? This is the question. Is question clear? Yeah, Rachel.
So I can use I can use a real life story from last weekend that I give a lot of credit to this class for the way that I responded to my situation. But so like my power, I came home after one job to let my dogs out so I could go to another job. But when I came home, my power in my house had gone out. It was really hot. This was a day where it felt like 115 in Oklahoma. So it's like probably like 120 or more in the house. Um, I couldn't really afford to go to a hotel with my dogs. I didn't really know. I had to fix it. I'm not an electrician. I didn't know what to do. I could have followed my emotion and been like, oh my God, how come this always happens to me? Why me? How come I don't have nobody to help me? Da 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 da. But I didn't have time for that. I needed to focus and I needed to not be emotional and use my intellect to figure out how to fix this. And I used Chat GPT and I was able to use the internet and take pictures of everything until I found the cord that I needed to replace. And it took me like 11 hours. And I was fighting a lot of battles in my mind of my emotions and wanting to give up and wanting to feel sorry for myself. But I kept telling myself, I don't have time for that. I need to focus. I need to fix this or else we're going to be hot all night long. And by 10:15 that night, I fixed it like I'm an electrician. And I had all my power, my air, everything back on, and it was done right. No issues. And then I got to lay in bed and instead of crying about it, be happy for myself because I didn't let my emotion override my intellect. And I stayed calm and it was like, that scale where you go from sane to insane. It was like this for 10 hours because I'm fighting myself and trying to stay focused. But when I did go to bed, I didn't have to cry about it. I got to be excited and feel good about myself because I didn't let the emotion win and I just stayed focused in my intellect. I don't think a dog can do that. Like my dogs, no matter how many times I yell at them for chasing a squirrel or trying to catch a bird, it's in their instinct. That's what they're going to do. And the class helped me understand my dogs better too. Because you can train them to sit and shake your hand and lay down and roll over. But I can't train them to not want to chase a bird or chase a squirrel because it's just built in them, you know? So those are my two stories about how the classes helped me.
Yeah, perfect. So what is this choice of action you and I have, and how can you completely transform your life? See, that's what is understood. That's what Rachel is telling. The dog cannot transform his life. But as a human being, you can completely transform your life. So what is that choice of action you have?
We can choose to develop the intellect and in order to have peace in our life.
That itself is a choice you have. You can put efforts and develop your intellect, or you don't put efforts and you remain a victim of your mind for the rest of your life. So that itself is a choice. You can exercise that choice, which all of us are doing here. Why are we attending these classes? Is because we want to become better human beings. So that itself is a choice which we all are exercising, isn't it? So your life is nothing but the choices you make. You can't blame anybody. If you use your intellect throughout your life, if you have been using your intellect throughout your life will be absolutely smooth. You can't make any blunders. You cannot make any mistakes in life. Everything will be like absolutely smooth in your life, at home, at work, in all aspects of your life. But if you have been a victim of your mind, if you have been functioning on the impulses of the mind, your life will be in a mess. Good many people, their life is in a chaotic state because they haven't used that choice, they haven't used their intellect. So therefore we say your life is nothing but the choices you make. You can steer your life in any direction. You may be born, let's say, in a family where parents are not that educated, relatively speaking. You may end up becoming the master of the universe. How many examples are there? You may be born with materialistic and sensual tendencies. You may end up becoming a highly evolved person, a highly spiritual person. You have a choice to feed your desires all life, or you have a choice to use this knowledge and work on your desires, improve the quality of your desires, reduce the quantity of your desires. So every aspect of your life you can steer in the direction where you want it to go. There is nothing which you cannot achieve by using the right choice of action. I've known a couple of people who, in the heat of the movement, signed on some document and they lost control of their own business. One of my father's friend, he was a family friend, and they had a, what do you call this, a partnership, business partnership. And some altercation happened between two partners. This is a true life, real life story. And he became very emotional and he wrote something, some document. He said, "No, I'm resigning from the business." And then next day he said, "No, I did not mean to sign that document." Then the case went to the court and they said there's nothing we can do because he put his signature on that document. Are you with me? So you have that choice of action. He had that choice of action not to act impulsively, not to be victimized by his own emotions. In your own career, you have a choice. You could be a job hopper or you could be loyal to one company. Good many people, they just go on hopping from job to job. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years is too much, or you just stick to one company. Same thing applies to partnership also. You may be loyal to one partner, or you may change partner every, I don't know, couple of years. You have that choice. How you bring up your children, it depends on you, not on them. How you manage your life, what standards you set for yourself. Is your life based on the higher values which scriptures talk about? You have that choice. If you live your life based on the higher values which we learn in the scriptures, children will automatically emulate you. Or it could be a disaster. Parents are fighting like cats and dogs and screaming. There is no harmony. What kind of standards you are setting for your children? You have the choice. You could function selfishly in life, or you could function in the spirit of service and sacrifice in life. That's the main choice we have. So in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, beautifully starts. He dramatizes. He says, Prajapati. I mean, God created human being, as it were, with this unique capacity to serve and sacrifice. And he maintains that concept till the end of Gita. You could function selfishly everywhere, including your home, your business, your profession, the way you relate to your society or a nation, or you function in the spirit of service and sacrifice everywhere. You have that choice. If you function selfishly, what will happen to you internally?
Irritation, frustration, aggravation.
Full of worry, anxiety, agitations, and whatnot. So, who is responsible for worry, anxiety, stress, frustration? You can go on using different words. Who is responsible for that?
We are for our individual lives.
You're responsible. You had the choice whether to act selfishly or unselfishly, but you opted to be selfish. So the price you pay is what?
Mental agitations.
Mental agitation. No selfish person can be happy. It's a law of life. Don't blame the world. Don't blame anybody. You are responsible for that state of mind. Or you could be absolutely calm, composed, peaceful person. If you just function with this attitude, wherever you are, you do your obligations in life. You just want to serve and sacrifice. So the price you pay, the effect of such actions is what? You're a peaceful person, you're a happy person. Who is responsible for that state of mind?
You are responsible.
You had that choice and you exercise that choice correctly in this case. Are you all with me? We can go on multiplying examples. So therefore, only a human being has a choice of action due to intellect. I can't go and train those 3 dogs who did not allow me to withdraw money. Why are you unnecessarily attacking me? What did I do? You can't. Dog will be a dog. Oh, next set of dogs will be very affectionate. Like my dog in the neighbor, in US, and some of you know, anybody comes, he will start jumping and licking that person, including the thief. So you can steer your life in any direction. You may be born in challenging circumstances. You may be born, you could be the most desire-ridden person possible. but with your efforts, you can completely transform your personality and reach a state of spiritual enlightenment. So, all of us have that capacity, but are we managing our day to day life to reach that state? Christ used that capacity, therefore, he became Christ. Lord Krishna used that choice, therefore, he became enlightened. A galaxy of saints and sages we are talking about. What is so special about them? Nothing is special, everything is special. But the choice which you and I have, they used it wonderfully for their own spiritual evolution. Are we using it? I must ask myself, you must ask yourself. Are we okay? Now, next, he explains how to develop intellect. So, Veera, yeah, what I want you to do is read the entire topic, yeah, and then what? This is going to be your homework for next week. So, next week we will start with this topic, how to develop intellect. But go home and you have a week to reflect on this topic. So, please start.
How to develop intellect. Human beings have practically lost their intellect and weakly submitted to the routine practices set by their predecessors. They accept past procedures in whatever they do with little thought or reason. Taking everything for granted, they follow a herd instinct and hardly query the authenticity of what they do and the procedures they adopt in their field of activity. Indeed, they replicate the lives of animals by denying themselves the rightful choice of action. You need to realize that your life is confronted with the dilemma of choice. The problem lies not so much in making a choice of action, but on what basis do you make it? You must recognize.
Can you please? Sorry, Veera. Underline this statement. Where is it?
The problem lies not so much.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it on the screen. Where is that statement?
The second paragraph, Amiji.
Yeah, the problem lies not so much in making a choice of action, but on what basis you make it. Underline this statement. Yeah, sorry, please continue.
Yeah, sure. The problem lies not so much in making a choice of action, but on what basis do you make it? You must recognize the vital role the intellect plays in deciding the course of action in life, and that the intellect needs to be developed, strengthened to do it. But people, the world over, operate on feeling and emotion of the mind rather than reason and judgment of the intellect. The frail intellect yields to the impulses of the mind. It is virtually held hostage by the overpowering mind. Emotions, no doubt, are a part of your life, but they ought not to interfere with your intellect's judgment and decision in business and life in general. The development of the intellect should actually commence from childhood. The child has a natural tendency to ask questions. The adults, parents, must encourage children to query and clear their areas of doubt. Thus, the passage through life needs to be streamlined by the process of questioning and answering. If, however, you have not adopted this procedure from childhood, you may start now by inquiring, questioning everything around and about you. Do not accept anything just because it has been followed for a long period of time or comes from a reputed authority. Instead, look for reason and logic in every facet of life. You then use your existing intellect to develop it further. Nobel laureate Albert Einstein has appealed to human beings. Intellectual growth should commence at birth and cease only at death. The process of developing the intellect is akin to muscle building. The weak muscles of a person can be strengthened through proper exercises. With the guidance of an instructor, he could in time gain a perfect body. And the very same muscles, through consistent effort, become firm and strong. Similarly, you should use your neglected intellect to build a powerful one. Nature has provided every human being with an intellect, a prerogative that humans alone enjoy among all creatures. It therefore becomes the responsibility to exercise, develop, strengthen it all through life. But there has been a grave dereliction of duty on the part of humans, and the intellect remains emaciated. It is the bane of educational systems of the world. For long, there has been no awareness of this serious lacuna in life, and with no effort to build the intellect, people have lost the art of thinking. As a result, their lives are based on groundless belief and superstition. They merely follow the assertions of irrational authorities which bear no proof. Following this trend, the world has reached a perilous state. Humanity must wake up from its intellectual slumber, realize the emerging need to build the intellect. With a strong intellect alone, one could combat and surmount all business, domestic, and social challenges. After considerable research, the author has set up a 3-year residential course at the Vedanta Academy in India for the development of the human intellect. Those who are unable to join the course at the Academy are provided with the same curriculum through an e-learning program which can be accessed at elearning.vedantaworld.org.
Perfect. So I'll explain to you next week what it means systematically, like step by step, you can understand the main points. So any questions on what we discussed today? We got about 7-8 minutes. Feel free to clarify.
Amiji, can you please comment on the influence of parents at a very young and tender age? And then when we
Influence
go,
of?
our parents,
Yeah,
and when we grow up, the influence of the environment
right.
that becomes a barrier in our efforts.
Right. No, see, it may become a barrier or also it may be a positive thing. So it depends on what kind of environment the child is brought up in. Because for the child, the immediate reference point is parents to begin with in life. So if the child sees positive things in the family or family environment, then automatically there is a tendency to emulate. You know, that's what even Abraham Lincoln, you know, that quotation we often mention, that there is only one way you can educate a child to go in a particular way. If you want him to go in a particular direction, and you have to live that lifestyle yourself. This is what Abraham Lincoln says. Bhagavad Gita, again, chapter 3 says, whatever Shrestha do, that's what followers do. Whatever standards leaders set, that's what everybody emulates. So that's the positive point. Because there's a natural tendency in the child to observe what is happening. The capacity is it's called as Udana Shakti. That capacity is very powerful in a child. So you put a child in a positive environment, the child will absorb positive things. If you put a child in a negative environment, child will pick up negative things. Similarly, in a society, if you're born in a materialistic, sensual society, this is what you have seen around you, that you automatically you will pick up those qualities. But if you are born in a very traditional environment, that's what you will pick up. But having said that, human being has a capacity to come out of the conditioning. That's the choice of action. You may be born in the worst of circumstances, but you may end up becoming a saint. So we often give example of Bhakta Prahlad. It's a concept. We don't know whether there was such a person called as Bhakta Prahlad. So his father was a demon, meaning materialistic and sensual person, selfish person. That's what it means. But in that environment, he turned out to be totally highly spiritual person, isn't it? So it depends on you, the individual. But having said that, definitely it is much easier if you have seen positive things in your life, if you have seen positive values in your life as a child. But it really doesn't matter. Once you get exposed to this knowledge, then your past does not matter. See, that is a choice of action. But it will be an impediment for some time, definitely, because you will have to negate your past. By the time you're 17, 18, 20, you already picked up some negative habits. Yes, you can deal with them at any stage, but it unnecessary energy you have to spend. So the main point is knowledge. Knowledge can completely transform your life. Knowledge can wipe out your ignorance completely, 100%. So answer is yes, answer is no, both.
Thank you.
Amiji, in terms of the choice of action,
Yes.
I wonder sometimes it's so hard to decipher like like I can reason about certain things, and I'm sometimes in a situation where the choice is so hard to make, and I wonder like is there a tip or a hint or something that makes me understand better when is it that it's the mind that is reasoning versus the intellect that is reasoning?
See, mind cannot reason. That's the whole point. There's a definition of mind. Mind is nothing but a bundle of emotions, likes and dislikes, impulses, whims and fancies. That is mind. Opposed to this is intellect, the faculty in you with which you think, you reason, you understand, you weigh pros and cons, you analyze. Go back to the diabetic example, it becomes very clear. So, what is it which craves for a sweet in a diabetic person? It is mind, isn't it? Only if he has a powerful intellect, he will start analyzing what will happen. That is, he is thinking. There is logic, there is reason. That means intellect is playing. So, usually both forces they are at play in all of us. That conflict between mind and intellect will be there throughout your life. And only if intellect is powerful, it can supervise the mind, it can overpower the mind. If intellect is weak, you'll be victimized by the mind. So you will face this dilemma throughout your life. So by definition, you know what is mind, what is intellect, isn't it?
Yep.
I don't know if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, I think that's right. I am aware of that. Yeah, that's that's the distinction between mind and intellect. But maybe so. What about if I have reasons for A and B? So the reasoning part of it is becoming a little bit more complex, let's say. Like how to make the right decision then. That's, I guess, maybe my
Not
point.
complex. Complex if your mind is overpowering your thinking. That's the complexity. Intellect means clarity. The moment you use intellect, it is clarity. See, it's like I'm magnifying. Should I go to Bank of America or should I go to Chase Bank to borrow money? This is a confusion going on. Both are mind. You get the point. Intellect is, do I really have to borrow money? And I'm happy in this two-bedroom apartment right now. Maybe in future, if my income increases, yes, I can upgrade. Why not? So where is the confusion? It is mind. It is mind which is teasing you. The moment you use intellect, there is clarity.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Ramaya.
Amit, so generally, like you make a choice based on logic and reasoning, and then you make a choice of action, which obviously is with clarity. But sometimes the reciprocation is not there. I mean, it generally happens with your close family members, right? Like whether it's your partner, whether it's your in-laws, or whether it's your parents. And I'm talking about really close people because when it's outside, it's just easier to just ignore or just say that, okay, they're not in my purview. But when it comes to like really very close people and they do not reciprocate with the same level, like how do you kind of deal with that kind of challenge?
No, again, see, it's like I am making it easy for you to understand. It's like asking, child has got no logic and reason, right? And if I take certain decisions, child does not understand. Child will not understand. Therefore, is a child. So, what it has got to do with your lifestyle, with it has got nothing to do with how you manage your life. Those who don't have intellect, they will not understand your decisions. What can you do? You can't do anything. Yes, you can't get into unnecessary confrontation with them. You understand that that's their intellectual growth. See, I always give this example. There are people who face opposition from their own family members to study Vedanta. I'm in this field for 30 years. I can think of at least 10 to 15 cases where family members oppose. It could be parents, it could be spouse. So, I mean, how can you convince them? You manage your life based on your conviction. You have that clarity. You don't want to borrow money. You believe in that. You have that clarity. So you manage your life based on that. Even if your own spouse or family members, they want to borrow money, they want to go down the drain, what can you do? You may explain to them, definitely, in a close relationship, with logic and reason. Perhaps this is not it depends on how you put it. So it's not that you don't try. You try if you're obliged to try. It's not all the time it is your obligation. Or you see your own children taking I don't know, a lifestyle which you see it does not make sense, right? You can educate them, definitely. But end of the day, you can't get into somebody else's life and monitor their life. But you can definitely monitor your own life. You can live your life based on what we are learning. So therefore, I gave example of when you interact with children, what can you do? Child will be child. So most people, they don't have intellect. Their lives are completely mind-led. It's a question of more or less. Applies to all of us. So if you have intellect, this is how you assess other people. That's the practical explanation. But they don't have that capacity to think and reason. So therefore, they are taking a particular course of action which does not make sense to you and me. So that's the dilemma. When you get this knowledge, you understand, my God, what It doesn't make any sense to me, But what can you do? Do something if possible, if they are available, if you are obliged to. But having done that, you have to tell yourself, I have control only on my life. Isn't it?
Yeah. Thank you.
Any more doubts? All clear? All right. So what's the homework for next week? Forgot. There is a homework.
Read through chapter 2, Miji. Complete.
Not the whole chapter 2. You only read, you only forgot.
Topic 2, sorry.
Yeah. Chapter 2, topic 2. That means you're not, your mind was somewhere else when you were reading.
No.
You only read the topic and you only telling us read the entire chapter. You did not read the entire chapter 2. Yeah. So read chapter 2, topic 2, which Veera read for us just now. See you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amiji.
Hari Om. Thank you.
Hari Om.
Yeah.